Hello, and thank you for watching. I'm Deborah McGrath, Senior Technical Product Marketing Manager with ServiceNow, and I'll be hosting this 30-minute webinar. Our presenters today are Andrew Hoagland, Senior Advisory Solution Consultant, and Jeremy McLaren, Senior Solution Consultant, both from ServiceNow with expertise in strategic portfolio management. Jeremy and Andrew will discuss and demo how you can leverage ServiceNow for an effective enterprise project management office. Jeremy will start us off today by considering some key customer challenges, including the lack of strategic alignment, tracking resources and costs, prioritization of demands versus in-flight projects, and lack of visibility and communication. Andrew will then demo how ServiceNow capabilities such as Alignment Planner Workspace, scenario planning, and strategy and operations dashboards can enable your ePMO to deliver greater visibility, increase business alignment, improve project predictability, and accelerated project delivery. Please note that because our Knowledge 22 events are taking place this week, this webinar is being recorded without a live audience. Our live webinars will resume on Thursday, June 30th. While most of the content included in this webinar are features that are currently available with our San Diego release, I'd like to point out our safe harbor notice. Jeremy and Andrew, a very warm welcome to our last Thursday's webinar series.
Thank you, Deborah, for that introduction. And before we jump into today's demonstration, there's a few points I would like to cover. This first slide here presents a question that most of us are probably asking ourselves. How do I deliver more value more consistently when everything is constantly changing? Well, last year, Gartner found that by 2025, 70% of digital investments will fail to deliver the expected business outcomes in the absence of a strategic portfolio management approach. So what am I hearing from my customers who are just like you? So number one, when it comes to planning or strategy, we're hearing that 67% of strategic plans fail, and 74% of executives don't believe that their company's transformative strategies will succeed. Number two, with planning, it's been reported well over a decade that enterprises continue to waste money on bad initiative performance. In fact, 9.4% of initiative spend, such as projects, programs, products, and more, is wasted. And lastly, lack of common tools become an issue when 95% of organizations state that they use 2 or more team tools. On that note, not only redundant tools are being used, we see some of those tools are inadequate. For example, 93% of spreadsheet users use Excel for tracking and managing plans. Believe me, in my past life, I used to be one of them. What challenges is your ePMO facing today? Well, we have 4 main challenges that we want to address, beginning on the left. Strategic alignment. First, we have demands and projects are not aligned to goals and initiatives. And do our portfolio managers and enterprise architects know what work should be done to achieve business outcomes? Then we have resources. There are many challenges I could call out here, but what stands out to me are a lot of times poor capacity planning, not knowing what our resources are working on, and do we have the right resources with correct skill sets allocated to the right task to deliver those projects? And then prioritization. We see misalignment of priorities between portfolios and strategic business goals. Where we look at visibility, there's a lack of transparency enterprise-wide and no clear vision into the business. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this over here to Andrew, who's going to walk through and show us how we can resolve some of these challenges within the ServiceNow platform.
Thank you, Jeremy. Great introduction. So for the audience today, we'll be looking at all those key elements of strategic alignment, resources, prioritization, and visibility through 3 key areas here within ServiceNow. So as we're in this right now I'm aligned within the Alignment Planner Workspace. And some of the key things that we can draw out from the Alignment Planner Workspace is, from a strategic alignment perspective, we always need to be pushing forward for the organizational initiatives. And we can see the organizational initiatives here on our roadmap, all in a single view, and how we're moving towards achieving them. Within the initiatives, we're able to understand how we're tracking with these. So what are our results? How are we getting there? What's our status? We can also see dependencies between them. But we can take this a step further, and we can look at this from the perspective of our backlog of different items. So from here, we can see the different initiatives that we have prioritized that are in our roadmap. We can see the items that are in review. We can also see the dates that are approved for this. And one of the key things here also, we can see how we're aligned to our goals, which are aligned to our strategies within our organization. It's from here that we can then take a look at our goals. How are we achieving these goals from the initiative perspective? Well, we can see we have 4 specific goals here, and we can drill down and we can start to see we also have targets. We have date ranges in order to keep us accountable. What's our status? We can also see the progress, and we can see the values coming forward in relation to our base and our target and what we're trying to achieve. Now, from here, it's really important to understand that we're looking at this from the initiative perspective of our organization. We can certainly then take this to the portfolio level. And I'll quickly call out that you can determine with the alignment planner workspace within ServiceNow, your different organization types. So starting from the roadmap again, now at the portfolio level, we can now see some key things. First off, I just want to call out here, we can see different milestones from the roadmap perspective. We could see releases that we put out there. We could see different product launch dates that we can align all of our different activities to. We're able to create additional milestones here. We're also able to create demands, projects, and epics directly here. Coming down into the alignment planner workspace, we have this broken down currently by our initiatives and planning item types. And if we go down to our HR employee engagement initiative, because we're in the HR portfolio, we can now see some key things here. We can see our demands, our epics, and our projects that we're executing on or planning for in regards to intake. We're seeing milestones at the epic and project level that we can hover over and understand. We can also, from here, understand dependencies across different items. So we can see here that we have 2 demands and we are in conflict because one is not completing before the other. I could certainly take this and move this in flight to alleviate the contention between them, make sure that the dependencies are aligned. Now, as we move this forward, we have the ability to understand this in other ways. Just like the initiative level, we could certainly put this in tracking mode. And now we can start to see that the 180, 360 feedback epic is 25% complete. Our annual comp application project is 50% complete. And we can see things such as our planned costs and our status directly here. Now, if we move down here, we can also see that we have a demand here that is not aligned with one of our initiatives. And perhaps we want to take this and move it into our employee engagement initiative. I could certainly take this and I could bring this in flight up into my demand and then, or into my initiative, and then plan out where it will be within my timeline. We can also organize the alignment planner workspace. I have this currently aligned by our initiative and our planning type. I can color it by different items if I wanted to, maybe by priority or state. We could also decide to show additional metrics on the different bars, additional financial information, scores. We can also decide what we want to show in regards to dependencies and milestones. But the good example here is we talked about goals. So perhaps it's better that we're going to align with our goals in our view. So now we're aligned with those different goals that we previously we saw, and we can see how all those different items are aligned in place. And then perhaps we want to see that from a perspective of how they're tracking in real time. So really this helps us understand strategic alignment and prioritization really of all of those intake items and our execution items in a single pane of glass. But to take things a little bit farther, we can take a look at our alignment planner workspace. This is going to help us prioritize both projects and demands. It's going to allow us to prioritize our resources and give us some additional visibility. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at the HR portfolio for FY22. And we've set a target here for our target amount within our portfolio. And we can see our demands and projects tracking against that target. When we come over to the top items here, we can see the different scenarios that we've planned out. Now, on the default plan, we can see, based on the check marks here, what we've selected for execution, and the little did not select items indicates the items that we're not executing in our current plan. I'll quickly note that the demands are in purple and the projects are in blue. So we're both pulling in demands and projects here. We could be doing this for the current year, or we could be looking at this in future timeframes as well. Now, quickly, we can also look at some of the tabs here, specifically getting into resources. We can now see on our current plan how this is impacting our groups. We can see the architects here are being over allocated in the timeframes that we see here. So something that we may want to consider. Going back to the timeline, we can then start to add in additional plans where I can now select and deselect items to impact the overview to the right-hand side, which shows our budget against our target, how many items I'm executing on, the benefits that we're pulling forward, if I'm impacting my resources, if I'm unaligned to strategies and goals, and any unselected project actuals if we've removed a project in flight will show here. So once we create all the scenarios that we want, we can then compare them and view them in a single pane of glass. You'll see the change rates based on the confirmed plan and the plan that you're looking at, and all those elements that we saw in the overview will be presented here. And if we choose to focus on our employees here, we'll kick off some workflows if we decide to go ahead by approving all selected demands, confirming the resources for the selected demands and projects, and unconfirming resources for unselected demands and projects. And we could delete the working scenarios. So from there, once we have our execution, we've been able to really prioritize our different items. From here, we've also been able to have visibility into our resources to properly plan things out and to get more visibility on what we're really executing on. We could then track all those execution items in our single pane of glass. We can see our Gantt chart here with to see our status. We can even pull forward the additional information that we would want to see, such as financials. And then to the right-hand side, we'll see the cost information rolling up from the execution items, budgets versus actual, and our resource information as well, along with our risks, issues, decisions, actions, and changes. To drill into things a little bit more, we could pull up the project KPIs, which are rolling up from the project status reports from the project managers, so we can understand exactly what is going on in each project. And from here, we could certainly drill in and take a look at the project status report for a more granular view. So rather than going to Paul Martin to get a status report, we could start to see exactly what's going on here. And finally, from here, just to roll things up into a nice dashboard for the executives in the organization, we have the E2E strategy and operation console, bringing everything together. From here, I'm focused on the HR portfolio, but we could certainly select a different portfolio. But we're looking at our overall spend, our benefits coming forward, and also realized benefits. Now, some key things here that are important to note. We can see our work by execution type. So we're seeing the majority of everything is waterfall. We have 8 agile initiatives, and we have 17 hybrid that are really agile phases within a waterfall project. Down below, we can also see some key things such as all of our different items in the different states that they're in. We're seeing some hours reports coming forward based on what we forecasted and actuals and costs coming forward as well. We can drill into spending in the sense of tracking against our investments by strategies and goals. We can also understand certain things in regards to pulling forward analytics from our performance analytics within ServiceNow. Drilling down into the operations, once those items are completed, we can start to see things such as open incidents, problems, how long are they open by state, risks by priority. And then finally, the last one here is our benefits realization. So we'll be able to see the total planned benefits, anything that's unaligned. We can see projects with NPV and ROI all coming forward, giving you everything in a single dashboard for those people who need it very, very quickly. So I will conclude the demo on that. Really, we've really shown you today really how we can strategically align to your business, look at those resources, prioritize everything, and give you visibility. So from there, I'm going to pass this back over to Jeremy, and he's going to take you through some additional items.
Great demonstration there, Andrew. And before we end today's webinar, here's a use case from Raymond James. Raymond James modernizes digital workflows to further align IT with top business goals. A challenge that they were facing was the need to consolidate and streamline IT systems and processes to improve oversight, management, and resourcing of global IT projects. The ServiceNow platform enabled them to have an enterprise solution, making services and data available through a single, easy-to-use portal. This resulted in improved transparency that led to better prioritized portfolios that were aligned with business goals, and which allowed for faster, better resourcing decisions. They also stated, we're not just supporting the business of IT anymore, we're supporting the entire business of Raymond James. And with that being said, Deborah, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Jeremy, Andrew, thank you both for that informative discussion and demo on how to leverage ServiceNow capabilities for a more effective enterprise project management office. And it really helped to put things in perspective by considering highlights from one of our great PMO customer success stories. For more content like this, please join us on the last Thursday of every month when we present a webinar on impactful strategic portfolio management capabilities. Our next webinar will be live on Thursday, June 30th. The topic is our new ServiceNow goal framework, where you'll see how you can create goals, set targets, and evaluate progress to drive business outcomes. Please note that you can view any of our prior last Thursday's webinars on demand from the SPM forum at community.servicenow.com. Thank you again, Andrew and Jeremy, and thank you to our viewers for watching.